Manisha, that we are moving on to our last topic, which is exploring the state of roll-ups, which has been a very, very hot topic for at least the past year and a half or so. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about who's coming on, Manisha? Are you with us? There
Hey
you go.
everyone, it was amazing having you all here. So for the next panel, we have Deri Protocol, Tron DAO, Elknet Bridge, Jarvis Network, and this time as well, we plan to merge both the panels, the next of the panels. But I think this time it would not have a lot of time crunch since it's the last panel. So we would be merging Timeless Wallet, Eclipse, IOTA Foundation, Skipshift, and FXDX Exchange.
Okay, perfect. I don't see any of them speaker yet. Is who
We
is Anchor?
we're
Yeah,
getting
sorry,
to
go ahead.
we're starting to add them now.
So how has this experience been doing a spaces that has 20 topic and 50 20 top, well, 13 topics if I'm being fair, and 50 guests?
I mean, it's amazing. It's thrilling, actually. I almost have goosebumps, and in fact, even before starting this mega spaces, I had goosebumps. I was like, oh no, like so many people coming in, sharing alpha knowledge, Web3 stuff. I mean, it's amazing. And more than so, this initiative was mostly to ensure that people could come together and also connect with each other. So it's of course like it's not because of it's also a fast panel. So we did want people to connect with each other, speak with each other, and I think that's almost happening.
Yeah,
So
no, I
far,
think
so
it's
good.
fantastic, and I can't believe that we have my friend Feroz from Tron on here. Hi, Feroz, how are you?
Feroz just messaged me and told me that he loves you.
Oh, I love Feroz. Hey, come on in, man. I thought you. I
Hey,
was like, oh, that's nice. Feroz is just watching the spaces I'm doing. That's very supportive.
no, I was really excited to see you were like hosting and talking when I got on. I was like, man, this guy's my favorite host by far. It was a pleasant surprise to see you hosting this call too, man. Great to be here.
Yeah, Feroz and I keep running into each other everywhere. He was just on our big web show, which is great. Why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself and what Tron's doing at the immediate moment? Since I think most people will have heard of Tron by now.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Feroz. I'm the enterprise lead at Tron DAO. We are one of the largest layer one blockchains in the space. We've been around since mainnet since 2018. We have the number one volume of circulating USDT in the world. We're a blockchain. We provide infrastructure services. Currently, our biggest activation, I would say, is our hackathon. So we have a global hackathon with $500,000 in stablecoins as prizes, and we're really excited to have it going at season 5. We've got almost 3,000 submissions. This is by far the highest turnout we've had yet. And yeah, we're excited to have it running again, and excited to see what new innovation we see this time. AI has been our biggest push, as obviously everybody's getting really hyped around AI. And so we really like to see what type of innovative ideas and projects are being built using blockchain and AI combined. So
Right.
yeah, that's really what we've been working on.
That's awesome. Yeah, the USDT use case for Tron is really killer. I love to see any example of crypto actually making an impact in a way that matters for people who need it, for people who have not a stable local fiat currency or are underbanked or unbanked. And we did a great show on that a couple of months ago. If you look for that in Benzinga and Tron on YouTube, it's posted to learn more about that. You could also see Feroz has the most beautiful, lustrous beard, like an aspirational beard if my beard wasn't already white. So my children would just tell me I look like Santa Claus if I grew it any longer. Actually, they already do because they're quite rude, but anyway, let's go on to it's probably the belly too. Let me go on to Mace. Mace, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, please, and tell us a little bit about your project.
Hey everyone, Pedro here. Surname is Mace. I'm here representing the BRZ and Transfero, which effectively we are a payments institution that use stablecoins as a manner by which we do settlements internationally. So we actually have, if you look at our internal numbers, because that's where we use it the most, the largest non-dollar stable in the world, processing around $3 to $4 billion in international payments a year, the BRZ. And we're currently also growing the market for the ARZ, trying to do the same thing we did for the Brazilian real with the Kenyan peso. So your message that you just sent about helping people that wouldn't have access to good finances having is a large part of our job. Actually, our largest flow, just adding to the same conversation, is between BRZ and USDT Tron. So in Brazil, around a third of the cryptocurrency volume is actually due to Chinese wanting to import things that don't have companies here in Brazil, wanting to import their goods from China to sell into the streets in Brazil. So we actually see that on a day-to-day basis to the tune of millions of dollars. This flow between the real and USDT on Tron specifically. I'm
Perfect. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm currently responsible for everything that Transfero does on chain. So any blockchains we're adding to our APIs, to do our payments, our investments, the DeFi investments we're starting to add to our apps, and the pools themselves, the bribing of the pools, the DAOs, all these interactions. That's with me within the company. And yeah, no, excited to be here.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead on to Pascal. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and your project, Jarvis Network?
Hi, everyone. So on our side, we are focusing on building non-USD stablecoin. As a matter of fact, we work a lot with Transfero. So we are issuing Brazilian real, but also euro, Swiss franc, Canadian dollar, and so on and so on. But we don't just do our stablecoins, we also take care of the liquidity. So in one hand, our protocol allows anyone to buy from the protocol or to borrow from the protocol, our stablecoins. And at the same time, we also do the on-chain forex liquidity. So if you want to exchange euro for dollar, if you want to exchange Canadian dollar for Singapore dollar, or Brazilian real for Mexican peso, it goes through us. And the way it works, basically, we don't use an AMM. We have a burn and mint mechanism. So when actually you buy from the protocol, or when you do an exchange with the protocol, we burn one stablecoin and we mint another one using the same collateral. So when you burn the stablecoin, I forgot to mention, all our stablecoins are crypto backed. We burn the stablecoin, we take the collateral, and we move the collateral to the other stablecoin. And of course, I can get more technical, but the high overview is this. It's a high liquidity for stablecoins. Of course, we provide a yield, and anyone can borrow. You can use various collateral like staked ETH, Bitcoin, and so on. And this on multiple blockchains like Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, Optimism, Arbitrum. Soon also will be on Base and so on.
So is it primarily a euro-based stablecoin then, Pascal?
Yeah, our main focus, because I'm French and most of our community members are French, we are mainly focusing on the euro, but the second largest stablecoin we have is actually the Brazilian real, and after the Swiss franc.
Okay, that's very cool. I've spoken to a couple of euro-based projects. You're of course not trying to challenge the primacy of USD as the world currency, are you?
No, actually, quite the opposite, because the thing is, USDC is the most liquid stablecoin, and USDT as well. I mean, you can't compete with them. So what we have done is actually very cool, because if you have our euro stablecoin and you want to exchange it for Bitcoin, we actually go through USDC, because first we swap the euro for USDC in our protocol using the Chainlink euro dollar price feeds. There is no price impact, no slippage. And then we exchange the USDC using Uniswap or whatever. So we actually leverage the USDC liquidity and we build our whole protocol on the top of USDC.
Right. Okay, perfect. Let's go over to Yosi. I don't think we've spoken to you yet. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and your project fairly quickly?
Yeah, so this is Z, founder and CEO of Timeless Wallet. It is a convenient social wallet so everyone can pay, chat, connect, and collaborate. And then for many of the audience and amazing great panel of founders and engineers and developers, you may be wondering why social, right? Well, because we think I've been in the kind of the blockchain space since 2017, leading some of the largest, initial kind of token releases, right? And we know there are many great open protocols that really could benefit from interoperability up and down the vertical, stacks and kind of the multiple layers to maximize the network effect. And social is probably the one of the most kind of exciting and kind of proven way to build up network effect. So, and then, just a little bit about my background. I spent about a decade at Google working on the early Chrome browser team, and also spent about 6 years working on Android. So know a thing or two about building a large scale kind of a platform that's open. Both Chrome and Android are open source projects. So that's kind of the intent of a timeless social wallet. It is a reference design, and we started development a little less than a year ago, and we have already been backed by 30 plus partners, including Router, a good partner of you guys, a big fan of what you guys do, and many of the other kind of L1, L2 protocols out there. Yeah.
Very cool. Let's go ahead over to Hotism. Hotism, why don't you, or Man of Frogs, why don't you come and say hello?
Yeah, hey guys. I'm Grant. I'm head of ecosystem at Eclipse. Eclipse is a framework for deploying very modular, customizable rollups. You can think of us effectively as the easiest and one of the most efficient ways to deploy, your own app chain. We're really focused on quite a few verticals, but DePIN, DeFi, RWAs, consumer applications, sort of everything within that vein. Yeah, I don't know what else.
Perfect. Yeah. We'll come back over with a question. RBX DeFi, you want to introduce yourselves?
Hey, this is Phil from RBX. Yes, we're the founders of Skipshift, which is the industry first peer-to-peer fiat the crypto on and off ramp. We've been building for a couple of years now, and we're trying to make products that are going to advance the space. They're going to make life easier for Web3 and DeFi adoption. So we looked at some of the major obstacles and stumbling blocks in the entire ecosystem. And I guess one of the last remaining challenges was if you wanted to buy and sell crypto or get it back to your bank account, you had to use a centralized exchange. And that works fine for a lot of people. But there's a lot of government overreach. We saw what happened with FTX. And obviously, working through those platforms, you're reliant on a centralized entity. You rely on a centralized entity, you've got KYC, and you've got the opportunity for malfeasance. Skipshift allows you to trade on a completely peer-to-peer basis. You can on and off ramp your funds, any token, any currency, and it's great to be here. And I've really enjoyed listening to the other projects speak as well, because it's brilliant to be a part of this space.
Beautiful, and it's great to be part of it for me as well. All these projects coming on to speak, such a good opportunity to meet everybody. Let's go over to Deri Protocol. Why don't you just go ahead and briefly introduce yourself and your project?
Hey guys, this is Dave from Hong Kong. It's currently 1 a.m. over here. But yeah, Deri is basically...
welcome. Thank you for joining us at 1 a.m. I'm sure there's no one you'd rather be talking to than us about Web3.
Correct, indeed. And it's basically derivatives on chain. So basically we have all kinds of perpetuals and options. So what we're trying to do is basically whenever the next bull market does indeed show up, we expect like a lot of institutions to come in as well. So that will bring in more technical traders and more traders that need heavier derivative products and different kind of, not just perpetuals. So we have different kind of unique products like everlasting options. And we are currently launching our V4 that is basically like a entire multi-chain system that you can basically do trading across all chains at the same time.
Right. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us at this late hour, no less. Timeless, do you want to say hi quickly?
Oh, that's me, actually. This is Timeless Wallet. I'm speaking on behalf.
Okay. Okay, perfect. We're good then. Let's go in. I mean, basically, we're going to go in with one question here. Feroz, I'll start with you. I think that ZK rollups were actually made one of the top 100 people in crypto this year by for 2023 by Cointelegraph. I think that we're all contractually obligated to say ZK rollup at least every 100th word if we work in the Web3 space. Like, I get it that it's adding efficiency, that it can add some security, and that it allows Ethereum to do a little bit more of like what it's supposed to do, which is super great. But what is the buzz here? How is this transforming everything?
Honestly, like you said, it helps with security. It helps with um, sustainability of the chain, right? Efficiency of the chain. Also, you want to make sure, I think the most important part for me is the security. I love the transparency of blockchain, but you don't always want everything to be 100% public. What you're holding, what you're sending, what you're purchasing. For a lot of people, especially like what the previous gentleman said, right? We have a lot of institutions coming in, and we're going to have even more bigger players coming in with the next bull market. And so having a little bit of privacy in your operations is very, very important. And again, it does also help with efficiency. I think that's a really, really big thing, especially on, particular chains where they do have a lot of congestion, to be able to bring down the operational needs, to be able to run transactions, to only have to send, a small verification as opposed to all the information that's going along with that transaction and with that chain state. I think it's definitely a big jump forward in efficiency and in security in the space. And I don't think we've quite seen the full, the breadth of the difference it's going to make. Like, we've just started talking about ZK rollups in the past year,
Right.
at least in detail. So I think we still have a long way to go to see exactly what type of impact it's going to make. But I think it's definitely a really big technical jump in the space, and I'm looking forward to see what that does for bringing in bigger players into the game that feel a little bit more secure entering now, that they have this sort of technology built.
What's the big focus on rollups for Tron? You guys are handling an awful lot of transactions on a global basis.
Yeah, I mean, we've had ZK shielded transactions were possible on Tron years ago. So we're definitely been working on that in the space. Um, our BitTorrent chain is also a layer 2 roll-up chain. It doesn't support ZK, but I'm sure that's going to be an update that's going to be made at some point. We do have, like I said, we have one of the largest circulating volumes of USDT. We've got millions of users across the globe, and knock on wood, we haven't really run into congestion problems yet, which is great for us based on how our infrastructure is built. But at some point, I do expect to have congestion problems. I expect to have even more people jumping on board and utilizing our chain. And
Sure.
so I think it's going to be a big piece of expansion and being able to support all of these new people that are going to be joining the space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I want to make sure I go through the lineup for at least one question as we are just a little bit over the hour. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. By the way, go ahead and follow all these speakers. We're going to go over to you, Mace. What should people be looking at in reference to rollups? I mean, surely this isn't a case of the blockchain congratulating itself and solving a problem that it created in the first place. I've never seen a back end technology explored quite with the same granular fascination that we've explored blockchain. But obviously, rollups are a big deal. So, what should people be looking at in terms of what they're going to be doing and the direction they're going in 2023?
Well, in general, I'd say a little bit of caution, especially if the person we're talking about is an investor, simply because whenever there's a new buzzword coming around the corner, be it blockchain 3 years ago, be it AI 1 year ago, be it whatever it is, there's always some very smart folk that will admit it behind closed doors that it's a little bit of of bullshit. So they overuse a word simply because they're doing one roll up into Ethereum doesn't mean the chain itself is zero knowledge. So that kind of mind marketing games is already being played. In terms of scaling a blockchain, every single type of rollup, be it a ZK or non-ZK, adds, let's say, one dimension of scalability. which is a problem solver. So it centralizes the processing of the transactions a little bit more, and in exchange for the centralization of the processing of the transactions, enables a little bit more TPS or a little bit more throughput, whatever it is, the function you're pulling in the blockchain. The issue with that is that you'll linearly always find a roof, right? So in terms of scalability, yes, we're going to be running behind the ball for the next couple of years. But whenever someone starts deploying a layer or whatever the buzzword for this will be at the time, where the more validators, the more computers, and the more users into the network, the faster and the more efficient the network gets. Until we get to that pinnacle, that ideal, scaling a blockchain is a race with no end, in my mind. Apart from that,
Sure.
In terms of personal security, I agree. In terms of technical security, cryptography scares me too much to opinionate.
All right. You know,
But,
Deri,
yeah.
Deri, same question over to you. Although Mace, you make an excellent point. I heard the Twitter statement yesterday, or I should say X, you know, turning it into an everything app powered by AI. And I thought to myself, yes, that's exactly what we would say if we want to be able to use the highest multiplier in terms of VC funding, which I think is what he's going for. So you're certainly right about the keyword thing. Let me take it over to Dairy Protocol. You know, what should we be looking at in terms of using rollups, ZK rollups, and what they're going to add to the Web3 space, you know, over the next 12 months or so?
I mean, yeah, I mean, most of the guys have already covered quite a bit, but as you just said about AI, I think if AI comes into the rollups division, I think fraud detection and prevention could be a big thing, and smart contract verification, because we could facilitate off-chain transaction processing, and AI can assist in the verification of these, you know, and help a lot of developers that are trying to get into the space. Also, I mean, yeah, just network optimization. That just talking about what AI can potentially bring to the roll-up space, like it's mind blowing, because it's endless the way AI is growing currently. It's and talking 10 years later, obviously roll-ups will be quite a common thing for the average Joe. So the combination between the two just has so much potential in terms of security and scalability and just usability between all the blockchains that we currently have in Web3.
Pascal, do you agree? Do you think AI is going to change the nature of what rollups can do right now, or enhance what it's currently able to do?
I don't know. I don't believe in overlap between AI and blockchains. AI is maybe good for user interface, so it could help on the user onboarding, on the user experience when using a DApp, but definitely not at the protocol level and on the blockchain level as well.
I'm going to have to agree. Sorry,
Go ahead.
I'm going to have to jump in here because I keep telling people this. They keep asking me, what do you think about this AI blockchain project? And I basically say, if the guy at any point, the pitch at any point mentions running an AI or anything that has to do with AI within a blockchain, run away. Because there are two polar opposites completely. If you're using AI to analyze a blockchain or operate a blockchain or do algorithms that rebalance between blockchains, awesome. If you want to run an AI within a blockchain, you don't know what you're talking about, simply because there is no computational process more heavier known to us currently than a proper, well-done AI. And blockchains are the most stupid, although the most well-trustworthy network we've ever made. So you can't have both of them. It wouldn't be able to run, not even a facet of it.
See, you sound like a naysayer for Stella tokens, which are going to run on an AI-driven blockchain metaverse project. I'm going to try, and also GameFi. I'm going to use gamification a lot in my white
They use
paper.
NFTs, don't they? They use NFTs.
You know, if that's what's popular at the time, yes, absolutely. And meme tokens. Go ahead, Yosi.
Yeah, so this is Z on behalf of Panelists Wallet. So I actually agree, but let me try to straw man and steel man the previous conversation, right? So philosophically, I do agree that blockchain fundamentally, since the original inception. By the way, we had a really good, fantastic opportunity to talk to Scott Scornetta, which was the on the original Bitcoin white paper in 2008, right? His paper was actually referenced 3 times. And him and I, we had like a 2 hour discussion on this, which is fundamentally the inception of HashMap and kind of blockchain as a whole is about creating scarcity, right? Based in terms of like just the ability to actually timestamp the block size, right? And verification, permissionless. Those are all designed to be built on top of scarcity. But on the generative side, little disclosure, I started working when I left Google. I did spend about 4 years working on machine learning, including talk to the original Near protocol founders, which one of them is actually on the original Transformer paper. We have discussion in the past as well. Fundamentally, it is about infinite abundance on the generative side, right? So diametrically, they are opposed. So I fundamentally do agree with that. But with that being said, I'll try to steal me in this conversation a little bit, which is it does not negate the fact at the application level and also the platform level to actually try to integrate. For example, right, there is a possibility for you to actually use block to actually kind of verify the provenance of certain real world assets, right, using blockchain. And that there's some of the content, for example, whether it be, we're all joking about NFTs and digital assets. Those could be actually infinitely produced using generative AI, but there is a ability for you actually to create some kind of scarcity or authenticity of the original IP. So these are kind of the early areas I think I do encourage some of the listeners to really explore. That's an area that, when we're in ECC last week, right? I know, or 2 weeks ago, some of the folks from LVMH, they are kind of started looking into this space, right? Not to say there's any solution yet, but the two kind of industry being diametrically opposite, in my opinion, that creates opportunity. And I was kind of using this kind of a slightly cheesy analogy. Yes, water and fire, they're kind of the opposite, but the right mixture does produce a lot of kind of latent energy in the form of steam. So, there are things that we can do at a platform and application layer that can actually marry the two. So I do encourage, the people who are listening to really kind of challenge some of these ideas and really kind of just have these open dialogue, open conversations.
Sure. Well, it's definitely a very powerful tool. It's all a matter of how it's applied and how it's positioned. What we're touching on that maybe is an experience that maybe not as many listeners have had as many people on the panel. If you've read a bunch of white papers, you know that there is a conscious effort to cram as many keywords into those white papers as possible because it affects the way they evaluate your company when you do your fundraising. So that's kind of the digging that we're doing at AI. But it is undoubtedly an incredibly powerful world-changing tool, even if it's just used off blockchain to do analytics of blockchain. How does what do you think in terms of ZK rollups? What should we be looking at over the next year in terms of how they're going to change things? Or if you want to drag AI into it, I'm open to that too. You with us, Hadism?
Yeah, no, I'm here. In terms of like the intersection between like ZK rollups and AI, I don't necessarily see like a hyper specific. Let me.
You can invent it right here. Then you'll be
Sure,
an
sure.
innovator
So,
like Vitalik Buterin.
Yeah. So I guess what I would say is that one of the ways I've always thought of like the collaboration between like AI and rollups and specifically just around like immutability is actually like posting weights on chain, just for like censorship resistance, because I think like ultimately as AI becomes more and more of a thing and it continues to gestate in like whatever the infinite machine of AI is, we'll start to see like governments and more regulatory bodies try to actually like control or create like specific regulation around like these AIs or these weights or basically like what training data can and can't be used. So I think an interesting intersection is just like something like Bundler, Arweave, or any type of like data storage solution, like realistic and pragmatic data storage solution, and AI.
Right. Sure. Absolutely. It's been a great series of topics here. Wow, what an incredible day. We actually have one more coming up, which is the true meaning of decentralization. So let's stick around for that. If we have something to say about that, I certainly do. You know, what's funny, during 2020, you didn't hear a lot of people crying about decentralization, because even though it's one of the core tenets of blockchain, as long as everybody's money is continuing to increase, they really didn't sweat it all that much. In fact, it was notably absent at the time. I wrote a little bit about it at the time, not in any major way. I'm really not that good at prognosticating, but it turns out that we do care much more. And now we're going to take it over to Manisha, who has something to say about this. What's up?
Yeah. I just wanted to kind of put it out there that I'm really glad that this panel happened, and what truly set this panel apart was not just the brilliance of ideas, but also the engagement between our panelists. And of course, I love the seamless flow of conversations, the thoughtful responses, and the mutual respect that was shown here today. So yeah, just wanted to put it out there, guys. Thanks